Talking Reds, Thursday 10th of January. Bit grim outside, but marvellous new office and that, what do you reckon? Into it?
It's alright, isn't it?
Into it,
nice.
Yeah.
Big licks, getting even bigger licks.
I was saying before, you can't see, but you'll see this angle on another Talking Reds video at some point. It looks a little bit like the old Grenades Tonight studio. We're just trying to figure out who's Gordon Burns and usually see me cock up the pair of us. Joke for the dads there. So, where do we start? So in the papers today, some links with Divock Origi going to West Ham.
Wow.
What do you reckon? I mean, I don't know. He scored what? He scored against. He scored a good goal against Wolves. He's generally looked okay, and obviously he's got the derby winner in the bag that will eventually win Liverpool the title. But
yeah,
should we be willing to let him go? Is the grass greener?
Do you know what's that funny about these? Like, I know I'm meant to be a sort of reasonable and rational talk, but usually when I'm on Talking Reds, this is the first I've ever heard of these stories because I don't really go on Twitter these days or watch the news. So you get my like fresh reaction, and I think it's absolutely bananas that it would even be considered. And I think the madder thing is that the fact I think it's bananas we might sell Divock Origi is bananas in itself because I think he's crap.
Okay.
So the fact that I think we can't afford to sell him tells us a lot about our squad depth in that position, because I don't think we can afford to sell him. And I think the Wolves game shows you how it raises concerns about Sturridge for me. We really got stuck into Sturridge on second look after the show, and I think that was a really, it could even be like a seminal moment in his career, about turning points. Who knows? That could be, he might have just been having a bad day and that could be going over the top. But Origi looked like he had more to contribute. He looked like, if you were going to throw on a sub now when you need to score a goal, are you more likely to put on Origi or Sturridge?
See, I don't particularly agree with that.
You're a Sturridge fan?
Yeah,
still.
No, me and Sturridge, yeah, definitely. Sturridge, yeah. No, I think the game's got to be right for Daniel Sturridge. I mean, you look at Chelsea away when he scores that equaliser.
Yeah.
I think if you're pushing on, he's far more likely to get you a goal than Origi is. I think Origi's great at breaking the lines. I think he's got a lot of pace. He's muscular. How many times has Divock Origi scored a goal like that? Is he the goal he scored against Wolves? He hasn't scored many similar goals to that. I don't think in his career. It's normally bursting through one-on-one.
Yeah, possibly.
Or chasing up the ball, coming off the top of a crossbar. You know, that kind of thing. Whereas
that's it. I mean, that's his key move, isn't it? That's his special power.
Well, yeah, exactly. But if you look at the goals that Daniel has scored, and it's one of the greatest shames in Daniel's career is the goal he scored in the Europa League final.
Yeah,
no one ever talks about it.
What a goal!
But he's the only player in that squad who's got that in his locker. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's still got that ability where if you said to me, I don't know, Old Trafford away, last 5 minutes, but the ball drops to someone in and around the box with 2 minutes to go, who do you want it to be? And you give me the list, and I came down to either Sturridge or Origi because we were pushing.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I take that.
But where I do agree with you is that I don't think we can afford to let either of them go.
No.
I don't think it should be an either or. I think it should be.
No, I agree, yeah.
A pair of them in there. I don't understand. I mean, don't get me wrong, if a massive offer comes in, and maybe it's just an agent putting the feelers out or whatnot, and we can bring someone else in, but then you've got the other question is, there's no guarantee whoever you bring in is going to be ready. I mean, one of the things we've learned about Klopp's Liverpool is the players can take time to acclimatise to the way of play.
Well, especially in that front three as well.
Exactly, it's such a specific way of playing.
Yeah.
It's not like you can just, it's not like, I mean, I know I was joking about it on social media, but I think if you stick Harry Kane in that scene, the way we play doesn't immediately hit the ground.
No.
I think it's just such a specific way of playing.
Yeah.
And especially with, I mean, we're optimistic about Ryan Brewster coming back in, but there's still no definitive date on that. And also, how much pressure are you going to put on the young lads?
Yeah, I think there's been loads of talk about Brewster in sort of quietly behind the scenes. And I get that, but for a start, no one can still guarantee he'll ever make it. Look at Ben Woodburn. Ben Woodburn 2 years ago everyone was raving about him, and he just hasn't made that step. Brewster's been out for a long time now, and even with he probably knows how we play from training so much and all the rest of it. To come back and be expected to make any impact this season when he's never made an impact at first team level before I think is just ridiculous, and I can't imagine.
You can't rely on him if he produces a bonus.
Yeah. So I mean, the simple answer to this is I wouldn't contemplate selling Origi or Sturridge. I can't believe we sold Clyne, if I'm completely honest. I think that was crazy, even if he wanted to go, and I think it's crazy that he wanted to go. to get what 15 games for Bournemouth between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, no, possibly.
Could have played 6 games for us.
I mean, you don't know how long this has been lined up for. I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. That this time last month, when Trent's fit, Gomez is fit, you know, you've got other players there who can fill in a fullback. Fabinho's played there.
Yeah.
Who's the other one? Milner.
Yeah.
Can play right back as well. It just kind of these things tend to bite. And you know what? In a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, when we get players back fit. You know, we used to say that everyone's kind of forgotten about it. We done it. The funny thing about Solanke, funny enough, we done a show about before he went about potential lineup for Wolves, and not one person mentioned Dominic Solanke. It's a weird like sliding doors kind of thing. Now suddenly there's a crisis. I mean, it brings on to we're going to skip the agenda a little bit and then come back to the middle. It brings on to the injury to Lovren. It's very, very strange at the minute because the club have given no indication of the extent of the injury. Now, to me, that means one of two things: either it's far worse than everyone's thinking, or it's not.
Yeah.
So it's very, very curious that they're not briefing on updates. I think the press conferences tomorrow will be really interesting. But especially with the links this morning with Liverpool looking at the loan market for players. I mean, what's your sense around Lovren? Do you think it's a serious thing, or do you think he just wanted to get off the pitch at Wolves because he couldn't be asked?
My gut instinct
that he couldn't be asked, but you know.
I'll go as far as say couldn't be asked. Like I don't think Dejan's ego would have been happy being in that team one bit, and any sign that he might be able to come off, I think he was happy to. And I don't know. Like I've got a soft spot for Dejan Lovren, I think, because I think he's a bit of a lunatic, and at the end of the day, we've seen this before. Dejan Lovren has been carried off the pitch on a stretcher with oxygen, and we're all like, oh my god, this is serious. And he's played the next game because there wasn't really anything wrong with him. So who knows? I don't even know what was his injury. What was wrong with him?
He felt the back of his calf, so everyone's presuming hamstring. So
but he hadn't even done much running, has he?
He hadn't even gone into a sprint.
So my gut instinct would be.
Do you reckon it was kind of rehearsed beforehand just to get over minutes?
No, I wouldn't go that far. No, well, if it was rehearsed by Lovren and Lovren alone. I don't think it was a management thing. But so yeah, could it be? It could be either of those things with Lovren. It could be he's got a serious injury. It could be it's absolutely nothing. I'd probably guess he won't play at the weekend. What do you think?
Maybe not this weekend, but I don't mind.
When's the game?
It's Saturday 3 p.m.
Saturday lunchtime. Saturday normal kickoff.
Saturday 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Who knew?
Yeah. I don't know. So we'll play. Who plays centre back?
Well, Van Dijk.
Me and you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Van Dijk's playing, you could probably play Sam Walker down next to him and we'd probably be all right.
Wouldn't go that far.
But, well, no, maybe not. But I mean, Wijnaldum played there famously against the same opposition last season.
Yeah.
Fabinho could then deputise as well. Yeah. Didn't have a bad game against Wolves.
Yeah.
Speaking about players who played against Wolves, Naby Keita. Segue in there, lad.
Yeah.
Some chatter today in the press about, he hasn't performed or, he's not what we expected. I mean, personally, I've got a little bit of sympathy with him in so much as I think that the price tag and the saga around signing him didn't do him any favours. I also don't think that people necessarily know the type of player he was. You kind of get that, if you get a highlights reel, you suddenly think, oh, he's this superstar, he can do this, he can do that. And let's not forget, I mean, I mentioned at the top of the show, there's a couple of things at play here. I mean, there's been talk about the language barrier, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But also, if we've learned from anything, it's that players need minutes in the first team to acclimatise to the way that this Liverpool team plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a tricky one, isn't it? That I think it must be difficult to acclimatise to this team without playing in the actual team. I see that. But then other players have managed it. We've seen the number of players he's got now. Klopp's got a track record of in training getting people over a period of time to a point where they're comfortable. I don't know whether there's a thing. I know there's certain people talking about there's a thing out. He's not actually playing in the same position he played in Leipzig, so that's tough for him as well.
And also it's been broken up because he's had injuries. He's only played half the minutes. Fabinho's played.
Yeah, and that all contributes, doesn't it? And I think
you can see that he's got the ability. You can see that he's got tools.
I was messaging a mate the other day and I was saying if he doesn't make it, if he never comes good he'll probably be the most overhyped signing of all time, won't he? Like there was a point, no, because Balotelli was a risk. Everyone knew it was a risk. Everyone knew he had ability, but he was a lunatic. But Naby Keita, the descriptions I was getting of Naby Keita before he came were that, like, he's a cross between Gascoigne, Mascherano, and Pele, and it was getting ridiculous. So we've probably all hyped him up so much that anything he does, I'm not sure. But I would say, in fairness to him, we have seen glimpses. We've seen him like ghost past people. The spin against West Ham. We've seen like the shot he had against Burnley. Yeah. No backlift, like rocket. Really good save by Joe Hart, so that's unlucky.
Do you remember Mark Gonzalez?
Yeah.
One for the archives there. Do you remember all those videos of him scoring all these whammies in Spain, and then he came over and with Mark Gonzalez, Rafa actually had to go down to see some government officials. Do you remember, to get him his work permit? He actually went to court, and Rafa, the lying bastard, turned around and went, oh yeah, he's got world-class ability, and it turned out he was shit. But here you go. One of the things that's been levelled at Naby Keita is the stories about he struggled to learn English, and you know, there's been suggested, oh, he knew he was coming for 9 months, why wasn't he fluent when he come over? When actually, you know what, it's not that simple. I mean, I've spoken to people about this. I mean, there's two sides, and you've got your own opinion on this, which I'm really interested in. But learning a foreign language without living in that country, it's not that straightforward. No. I mean, you learn far more. So, for instance, a friend of mine lives and works in Spain. And he knew he was going for about 6 months taking Spanish lessons, took them seriously, didn't shirk them. When much use, he said he learnt more in his first week of actually living in Spain than he had the previous 9 months. And then even then, I mean, we were talking before we recorded, is it really that much of a barrier? I mean, you look at
yeah, that's the big thing for me. I mean, you can debate language learning abilities of humans, but there's plenty of people who learn foreign languages not living in the country of the language they're speaking. But everybody's got different abilities for that sort of stuff, haven't they? So some people will pick up languages dead easy, some people won't. It makes me laugh. I bet you half the people who are slagging them off for not learning a language do not even speak English properly. So always bear that in mind. Like, how many of us speak foreign languages? Not that many. But I was saying to you before we started recording, like, Sergio Aguero doesn't speak great English by all accounts. You said Tevez doesn't.
Tevez never learns English.
And for me, it's like, well, how much do you need to be able to speak the language of the people around you to play football? Now, it might be that when you...
Just this.
Well, man on, pass, shoot.
Red card.
Maybe what we're talking about in the Klopp system, you need to be able to communicate verbally better. Maybe that's it. Maybe if you can't understand basic commands, but even then, how many things do you need to say? Move here, go there, go left, go right. So I'm not sure that... It'll be interesting, actually. Me and Robbo were recording a pro view with Steve Warnock later on today, and it'd be interesting to get his opinion on it, because he'll have been in dressing rooms with lads, and who some will have learned good English and some won't.
Ask him about Jiffy.
Yeah, he loves talking Jiffy. No, it's fine. So who knows? I personally don't think with a player of that ability it'll be that big an issue. It's more about, does he feel comfortable? Has he settled in generally? That's something we've talked about with Steve Warnock a lot. If you've never heard those podcasts in the past, definitely worth listening to, because they're dead interesting, because he gives you the insight of what it's like. We all forget that you can forget that footballers are humans just because they get paid loads of money and they're on the telly all the time. But they are humans, and like for anybody else, sometimes. Steve told us a story of one of the clubs he went to where just within the first week he was like, I'm not going to settle here. It doesn't feel right. And that affects your game. And people might say, well, it shouldn't because you get paid loads of money. But we all know what it's like. Things playing on your mind will be playing on... Like, if you're in work, things still play on your mind in work, don't they? That's no different if you're playing football.
But, I mean, one of the things that struck me with Keita as well is who does he gravitate to? So, for instance, for me, when I was, Coutinho was there. Yeah. Moreno, Coutinho was best mate. Lucas is still knocking around. So you get these South American players, there's someone to gravitate to. You know...
Isn't he mates with Mane, though?
But I mean, I'd be met before. And there's only two of them.
I thought they were like, I don't know where, like, have I made this up? I thought they were actually mates.
First, I mean, you might be right, I might be wrong, but what I'm saying, there's
I might have made that up.
it's a totally alien environment to when he arrives. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't got, when he arrives, he hasn't immediately got someone throwing his arm around going, okay.
Yeah, and look, it's a completely different country and culture and all the rest of it. So even things like that will get people. Think about if you move to a foreign country and you've just got to get used to like the shops and what the type of food you can eat and all the rest of it.
I'm into the food. The food won't be a problem. Everything else will be absolute nightmare. But I think he'll come good. The boy's got ability.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. Maybe people needed something to talk about this week about to lose their heads over a bit more than they already were, and I just don't think.
Losing their heads this week.
Amazingly on the internet.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
So yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about. If we're still here, I was listening to the review the other day, and Sean Rogers was saying, which I completely agree with. If we're still having this conversation next winter, well, October, November, then you've got an issue because he's had a whole summer then as well, training. So I wouldn't be worried just yet. I still think if you're Man City looking at us in a title race, you're worried that we are where we are without Keita contributing and without Chamberlain coming back in. So those two players could both come back. Chamberlain could come back and Keita could click in March. And that's all we need them to do. 2 months of them being on fire could take you to the league. So
there you have it. That's exactly what's going to happen. Right, so rest of the day, just a couple of quick notes before we go. Live show in Edinburgh sold out. Amazing, brilliant, can't wait. Still tickets available, only a few though for in Brighton tomorrow. Tickets still on sale at AnfieldWrap.com, although very limited. Also today on the Anfield Wrap we've got the gutter, which I'm going to be doing with Rob in a bit. Should be loads of fun. Then we've got a what we call history coming out, and then we've got the Friday show later this evening. That's been today's talk on Reds. Nice one.